I'm hanging out here with Poa for a little bit. Someone's coming to pick him up, so... Woo! Oh, he went inside my shirt. Oh man. Wonderful. So this is Poa. He's my, he's the first big boa that I ever got. He's basically the start of everything. He's Nova's dad and father to lots of the snakes I've produced up to now. But he's just still a great snake. He's an anery het snow. It's just there's no point in me really breeding him, or I'm going through a big downsizing, selling off all the animals that I'm not planning to breed anymore, keeping very, very few other than like for breeding projects, just because I want to be able to give more time to my animals. And I got to the point, well, it's taken me a long time. I guess it's taken me like almost a decade to get to the point where I'm like, you know, I actually have too many animals. There's still a few, like as you noticed, I picked up a green tree python because I've been raising 2 females for a few years. I had to pick up a male green tree eventually because I'm planning to work with them. When it comes to most things, I'm not going to be buying any more animals. Or at least I'm pretty sure I'm going to be working with what I have, growing them, mixing them. From the time I started, I've always been kind of conscious of where everything's going, like growing up this family over here, growing that family over there, and trying to keep the bloodline separate. I've never wanted to kind of like, okay, let's just breed all these with all these and just keep breeding them all together. I don't want to be inbreeding like crazy. It's understandable when you do it to get the genes that you want, but once you hit the genes you want, then I think that it's good to outcross. Then there's things like, you know, line breeding projects where people just breed and breed and breed to get certain traits, and then they get some beautiful animals that are totally like crazy inbred. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it really affects the animal? When I was young, and I first got, when I was young, I'm still young. When I got started, I remember being at a pet store, and I talked with one of the breeders, and he said that basically you can inbreed up to 5 generations, and once you go past 5 generations, then you start having problems. So he said he'll breed them like 4 generations and then stop. So I've always kept that in mind, but I never inbred even to 2nd generation. I got my Sterlings from breeding a brother and sister together, but funny thing is that litter was like one of the healthiest litters I ever had. The babies were fully like large babies. They all ate well. They were amazing. So it's just like, that's my experience with inbreeding. The healthiest litter I've ever had. So Ariel's funny. She's like, I don't know why you don't just keep it as a pet, but it's just like all the animals I work with are basically my pets. Even if I am a little attached to some of my animals, I'm not treating Poa the way I did when I first got him. I'm not holding him all the time and taking him outside as much. I still take him outside and stuff, just not as much. So if I can give him to someone that's going to take better care of him, enjoy him, why wouldn't I do that, right? He's always been my buddy. He's helped a lot of people get over their fear of snakes.
He's like, I'm never gonna leave you. You think you can get rid of me?
When I first got Poa, I used to take him everywhere. He used to hang out with me at McDonald's. They used to have like a muffin and a coffee deal. I think $2 you'd get a coffee and a muffin. I'd always get the Oreo muffin, hang out with Poa, drink my coffee, have my muffin, and chill out. We always had a good time. Well, that's gonna be goodbye to Poa, so. aneries end up looking more like this when they're adults. So when you see baby aneries, they look all gray, but then as they grow up, they call it browning out. The tail's so cool, it's like dark. He always likes to hold on with his tail. And you can see the albino shining through. So with lots of animals that are hit for albino, you can see the albino shining through. If you want to see more about that, click on the first video. Otherwise, check out the second video. Thanks for joining me to say goodbye to Poa.